You wanted to see me, Miss Moore?
I did. Thank you for coming in, Garrett. I wanted you to help me out with this running record. Would you mind reading this book for me?
This one?
Yes.
Okay. Just start at the beginning.
Yes, if you'll just start at the first page, then we'll go on from there. You'll read the first 100 words.
Okay. One summer day, my grandpa arrives home with a tiny pig on a leash. Pablito, it's for you, he says. I am so excited, I do not know what to say. I decided to call him Armadillo because of his color. Amarillo means yellow in my language. Don't be afraid, my cute little yellow pig, I tell him. You'll be my friend. He climbs on my back and scratches me. I make a beautiful, beautiful hut for him. He can sleep in it. Is he tired? Sleep then, little pig. Little by little, Amarillo grows. We play together every day. Everywhere I go, he follows. We love to splash in the mud best. He is my best friend, just like I told him.
Now, Garrett, when doing a running record, first add up the amount of errors the child made. It is important to point out what miscues the child is using. For meaning, ask yourself, does what the child say make sense? For syntax, ask yourself, does what the child say sound correct? And for visual, ask yourself, does what they say look correct? Do you have any questions?
No, ma'am, that makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, hopefully this video will help out a lot of people. I'm going to send it off to M and Knight and let them analyze it.
M? You're going to send it to M? Oh my gosh, there's more.
Ryan, were you able to watch the video Carrie sent us?
Actually, I just finished it. I found 4 errors, and there was one early on, and...
Ryan, there were 3 errors.
All right. M? What was Garrett's first error?
Wanting to become a teacher?
Womp, womp, womp.
I meant on the video.
He called the pig an armadillo. Who in their right mind would name a pig armadillo?
Hey, my boys have a pig named Armadillo. I love this book. Anyways, it was the pig's name, Miss M. I've told my classes that when the names are mispronounced, it's not considered an error. You want to know why? Because some people have ridiculously hard names that they can't pronounce. Prime example, Pat Mithalabage.
Oh, hush. Whatever. The second one was where he added cute to the sentence.
That one I did count it as an error. What cue do you think he wasn't using? And don't say violating. We don't use that anymore.
I think that it makes sense, and it sounds correct, but the word cute isn't in the book. He's obviously been around the girls for too long. He missed a visual cue.
Yes. So the next one on my sheet was an omission of the word best before friend.
I counted that too. Once again, he missed a visual cue. That boy needs to get his eyes checked.
Hey, take it easy on him, Em.
Wow, you boys really do band together.
At least he self-corrected when he said climbed. I didn't count that as an error. Did you?
Obviously, I know better than to count and self-correct as an error, Ryan.
Okay, my bad. My last 2 errors were both repeats. He repeated beautiful and by little.
Those aren't considered errors, Ryan. You should know that.
I know. I was just testing you, Em. I've told my classes that. Overall, Garrett didn't do too bad. He just needs to be more intentional with his reading. That will fix his problem with missing visual cues. And other than that, he did fine.
An easy solution would be to track the words with his fingers when he's reading. And if that doesn't work out, he could just transfer to secondary. I hear they need more history majors.
Hey, Em, we're supposed to love all education majors, not just elementary.
Yeah.
Well, he's coming down the hallway now. Do you want to tell him or should I?
Okay, well, we hope you've enjoyed our video so far. Cassie and I are going to explain to you how to actually do a running record. When a student says the sentence correctly or the words correctly, you just draw a tick mark above it. For example, Cassie, if you'll read sentence 1.
He can sleep in it. So obviously for the sentence there are no errors, so you don't have to fill out anything here or answer any of the cues.
So the next one that we're going to talk about is a substitution. So if a student substitutes the word, you draw a line over the word that they attempted to say and you write down the word that they actually said.
He can't sleep in it. So a substitution does count as an error, so you put a dash there. And then when you start to look at it, you mark the cues that they are using. So can't is meaning our meaning because it does make sense. And it also sounds correct within the sentence, so it hits syntax. And then it also looks like the correct word. So you have used all 3 cues.
Okay, for the next sentence, we're going to talk about an omission. So if a student omits or leaves out a word, you just draw a line over the word that they missed. Cassie, if you'll read this next sentence.
He sleep in it. Right, so this is also an error, and we will not mark meaning because he sleep in it does not make sense, nor does it sound correct, and it's also not using your visual cues because the word is there. So you actually haven't used any cues in that sentence.
For the next sentence, we are going to talk about an insertion. If a student inserts a word that is not actually there, you just draw a caret and write out the word that they said.
He can sleep in it tonight. Right, and this also counts as an error because they're adding a word that wasn't actually in the sentence. We are using meaning and syntax because it both makes sense and sounds correct, but we're not using a visual cue because the word is not in the sentence.
Okay, for the next one, we are going to talk about the repetition of a single word. If a student repeats a word, then you just draw an R over that word. If it happened to be a whole phrase, then you would draw an R and an arrow back to wherever the phrase began. Cassie?
He can sleep in it. We don't actually count repetitions as an error because the child is simply repeating the word, but he did read it correctly.
For our last one, we are going to talk about self-correction. When a student makes a self-correction, you draw a line over the word that they attempted to say, what they said, and then you draw another line marking that and write SC, marking that they made a self-correction.
He can sleep in it. And again, you don't mark an error for this, instead you praise your child because he's an awesome reader, so you don't have to mark anything over here.
And that's all that we've got about a running record. We hope that your running records run smoothly as well.